Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Marta's Magical Mystery Class, and this is video 13 of 13 on the drafting process. 60,000 words! Yay! Kind of feels like I should just stop right there. You're done! You finished your draft! Woohoo! And then, that's really it, because it feels like it's a little unfair after 6 months of working on a novel to give you more homework. And yet, you're not done yet. You might be done drafting, you might not be done drafting. 60,000 is an approximate target for a first novel. So for those of you who are still drafting, the finish line is in sight. I am going to spend all of November doing little videos in support of the folks who've decided instead of spending 6 months writing a novel, they are going to spend 30 days. Yeah, it'll be exciting. So I hope those of you who have been part of the channel up to this point will still enjoy the NaNoWriMo videos while you rest or finish or get some sleep. And yeah, we will start over, not start over, we will start with the next piece. Several months of drafting videos while you draft your novel, several months of editing videos while you edit your novel. Okay, we will start those editing videos in December. So you have catch-up time if you've been watching them every couple of weeks as they come out, or if you have been on your own without subscribing, just watching them approximately every 2 weeks. That's how the timeline of the channel is designed. So, all that said, I am going to do the, it may be the last day of school, but you still have homework kind of teacher thing, and tell you that the big literary terms I would like you to think about at this point, and as we move into revision: myth and archetype and how they apply to your work. Okay, for a very long time, really kind of until this generation, when people in the United States or in Europe talked about myth and archetype, they were talking about the Greeks and the Romans and classical mythology and archetypal god figures. Mercifully, we are in an era where all that other stuff that was just called folklore is being recognized as, hey, these are cultural stories that belong to people who were not classically Greek or classically Roman, but from other parts of Europe and other parts of the world. And recognizing that those cultural stories have their own context and their own validity. If you are a person of color, I strongly encourage you to enjoy the wealth of information that is becoming available about mythologies, folklore, cultural stories, from where you historically have roots, or from somewhere else that may appeal to you. And I know that folks who come from family lines who were enslaved, folks who come from family lines that were displaced, there may be no figuring out where you come from geographically. In those instances, and even in instances where you do know, it can still be very useful to look around and see what you feel connected with out of all of the world's cultural stories, whether or not they come from the same soil as your biological ancestors. Now, white folks, the caveat there, as I've given it before in character, not okay to appropriate. If you need more information on cultural appropriation, you can look at my previous videos and you can look that up. So that's mythology. What are archetypes? Archetypes are to myths what characters are to stories. So archetypes are those figures that feel eerily familiar over and over again, those figures that may feel larger than life, those patterns that repeat. The psychiatrist Carl Jung, who believed in dream interpretation and based a lot of his theory of psychoanalysis around dreams and the oversoul and the collective unconscious. Jung had a lot of ideas about the ways that we are connected to our past, to our present, and to one another, that may or may not have any scientific validity, but maybe something that appeals to you in a spiritual way. Jung was certainly very famous for his promotion of the notion of archetypes. These characters, these figures with which we might identify as we work through various things. Jung was an ardent fan of the tarot. He was an ardent tarot reader himself, and a lot of what he has to say about archetypes is from his own study of the tarot. Tarot cards, the origins, probably Italian, probably Renaissance, possibly Jewish, possibly Kabbalistic wisdom from the same period, possibly both and. Cultural crossover, or back early. But certainly tarot cards have come down through a lot of places and a lot of time, and I will be talking tarot stuff. I use a lot of tarot in my work. And I'll be talking tarot stuff on Tuesdays during the NaNoWriMo videos. So if you are curious about exploring archetypes in that way, you can tune in on Tuesdays during November. There are certainly lots of other ways to explore mythology and archetypes. So I will let you all think about that as your summer vacation homework or your NaNoWriMo homework. And I'll move on to my recommendation for this week, which is Oyinkan Braithwaite's My Sister the Serial Killer. I know that you are all mystery fans, and I think this is a fantastic novel for mystery fans. I'm not sure I think it's a mystery novel. I definitely think it's a suspense novel. But it does not follow the established pattern. Not that my novels follow all of the mystery conventions either, but it, I think, challenges those conventions and challenges us to think about them. The book is set in Lagos, Nigeria, which is where Braithwaite is from, or Braithwaite is from Nigeria, rather. She's lived in various places in the world, including Iowa. I live in Iowa, so it's kind of fun to know she had lived here for a while and worked on the book here at University of Iowa as part of their Iowa MFA Writers Workshop. So the setting is wonderful. The pacing, the writing are this kind of quietly journalistic and even potentially kind of wry and almost comic at points, chronicling by one sister of another sister's activities, which become increasingly worrisome. So it's a novel well worth reading. It will, for those of you, you're watching Marta's Magical Mystery Class. So for those of you who read and write mysteries, for those of you who like mysteries that are a little outside the box in particular, I think this is going to be a terrific read for you. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you tune into the channel for all of the NaNoWriMo excitement. Congratulations one more time for finishing your draft. Yay! Congratulations.